My name is Carly Noel Franz, and I'm a survivor of satanic ritual abuse carried out by the Freemasons. Everything that I'm about to tell you is 100% true and real, and I'm going to tell you everything that happened to me in chronological order. My parents got married in, I believe, 1989. I was born in 1990. It was at this time that my parents were living in an apartment, and my father's father decided to purchase a house for my father and mother and I to live in. However, he kept this house in his name. He did not give the house to them. In 1992, my parents went through a divorce. My mother had main custody of me, and I would visit my father on the weekends. We would have dinner on Tuesday nights. It was in 1992 or 1993, while in my mother's custody at her house, that I was abducted by my father's relatives, which would be my grandmother, my grandfather, and my great uncle. I was taken from the house at night after I'd gone to bed, and I was taken to sort of a nondescript looking government building. When I was taken out of this van, I could feel the presence of the people who were familiar to me, my relatives, being left behind, like stopped at the door. And I was transferred into a stranger's arms and then taken inside of this building. Once inside of this building, I saw a red carpet. I want to call this the main hall of this kind of plain government building. The interior of this building was just ornate and rich looking, lots of gold gilding on the walls, chandeliers and mirrors, and red carpet in the main hallway or whatever. And in this hallway I only saw one woman, and she was dressed in a long black dress, long sleeves up to her neck, lots of jewelry, tons of makeup. She had short black hair and she looked old. This building smelled like cigarette smoke, maybe pipe smoke, tobacco smoke, and cologne perfume or what have you. But she was the only woman that I saw. And it was mostly just old white men in their tuxedos and their aprons, which were blue and white with a bunch of gold embroidery, their necklaces with all of the regalia and medals, I guess. And from this main hallway, we went and took a left-hand turn into another hallway. And then on my right-hand side was a doorway leading into a long dining room. And in this dining room, there was blue carpet with gold stars, it looked like. And I was taken into this dining room, and at the very end of the table, this very long white tablecloth table, was sort of an altar with behind it on the wall a two-headed eagle and some sort of like sunburst of like rays behind it. And I was taken up to the front of the table, and in this dining room there had to have been maybe 100 to 150 of these Freemasons in their uniforms. And once I was taken to the front of the table, they stripped me naked, they held me down, and they placed things inside of me. And then the Freemasons got into two lines and took turns having their way with me. After that sexual abuse was over, the dining room appeared to be sort of cleared out. And then in came in a smaller group of men. However, they were dressed in these robes with hoods. One of them was wearing a goat skull or some sort of cattle skull on their head, and they brought in a little boy who was probably about my age. So I'm at the front of the table, looking down the table. This little boy was off to the right-hand side, about midway of the table, and they had him on a little altar. And this guy in this hooded robe was just kind of hovering over him like this and cutting him open and basically just torturing this little boy by cutting him, letting him bleed. And I was forced to watch. It was about this time too that I was being placed into some sort of animal carcass on the altar. And when the little boy was dead, and he stopped screaming, I looked and saw the guy who was cutting him open like this, like possibly he was eating the entrails or drinking the blood of this little boy. And when this little boy died, a demon was summoned, and it appeared to look like some sort of black mist that congregated in the center of the room, like right underneath the giant chandelier in the middle of the table. And at first I thought it was black smoke, but it was not smoke. I don't remember what it smelled like, but they were summoning some sort of satanic demon. And it basically just grew and grew and grew until the entire room was filled with this black mist darkness. From there, I woke up in another room, which was very dim and dark. It had black and white checkered floors, and there were children chained to the floor around me. I was chained to the floor, and there was a child who was chained up to my left-hand side, and I'm 100% certain this child was dead. While I was in this room, I could hear other children being tortured and screaming, and I tried to block it all out of my head while I was chained to the floor. I tried to hide in a compartment of my brain to just sort of block it out, like this can't be happening, this cannot be happening. Another thing that happened while I was in this dim, like torture room was there was a baby or a toddler that was chained up to the wall, and someone in a robe came in and stabbed him in the head to kill him. This is where my memory ends, and the next memory I have is being taken out of the building, and I was just trying to look around and see where I was, and it appeared that I was taken out of some sort of back door when I exited, when we were leaving the building. And then we got into another dark van, and I was taken back. The following nights after the abuse happened, I would lay in bed at night and just go over what happened to me over and over and over, and I was terrified because what I saw was human beings, or what appeared to be human beings, just murdering and torturing and raping children. And I knew that if I spoke out, that terrible things would happen to maybe not just myself, but all of my loved ones, my friends, my family, my mother, my father. And I felt that I couldn't talk to anyone about this, because why would a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old know about all of these things? Why would I have these memories, you know? I remembered speaking to my grandmother, who was one of my perpetrators, when I was a little girl, and this stuff was bothering me because I had never seen Freemason aprons or uniforms before, so I was kind of quizzing her down, like, can you show me what government uniforms look like from like every country? And she was like, oh no, I don't know. And like, you know, this is before the internet, so of course sweet grandma wasn't gonna fess up to what she really is into. And people would say, like, oh, she was the sweetest lady in the whole wide world. Well, yeah, that's a nice cover-up for somebody who's into really dark, occult shit. Anyways, when I was a little girl, this would haunt me, these memories of my trauma. And I would try to just put them away just so I could get some sleep, just try to not think about it. And I had to in order to just sort of function. It was really sad. And one of the main memories I have also while I was a little girl and just being tortured by my memories was knowing that I'm a little girl. There's nothing I can do about this. Like, what can I do? But I knew when I was a little girl that when I was older, when I was an adult, I would remember, I would find out who my perpetrators were, and I would do everything that I possibly could to take them down. And as an adult, I know that because of the powers that be, that the Freemasons have infiltrated every church, every police department, every president that has ever been is part of this. For me making this video, you have to ask, what's the point? Why are you doing this? I want to wake people up. I want to encourage other survivors to speak out, because there's nothing to fear except fear itself. And if the Freemasons want to come at me, come at me. I'm waiting. I know that this video is going to get censored. It's probably going to get every Freemason troll on the internet to come by and downvote and report and you name it. So please, take this seriously, but this is my warning. Do not join Freemasonry. It is a disgusting, satanic cult. On August 9th of this year, I was doing research on the Illuminati, Freemasonry, what celebrities are Freemasons. And it was when I did this research, roughly 2 months ago, that I saw the uniforms again. And I had not seen the Freemasons' uniforms since I was 2 or 3 years old. All of my memories came flooding back to me. And I have to heal from this. I have to deal with it. And I think that I'm doing a pretty damn good job of holding myself together. And I don't feel that I'm a weaker person now or that I'm a more afraid person now, because I know that God has a plan for me. And I'm going to speak the truth. So as a warning to all the Freemasons, the survivors are waking up. It's time. And I encourage the survivors of this abuse to come forward and please speak out. You might ask me another question, whereas how do you know that your relatives are in fact Freemasons? Well, 2 years ago, before I woke up, I was at my grandfather's house having lunch, and my great uncle was sitting across the table from me, and he mentioned to me that I'm a Freemason, all proudly, and I said, oh, that's nice, because I didn't really know, I didn't really care. I thought the Freemasons were just a dumbass fraternity of people who were Bible crazy. So there you go. I know who my perpetrators are. I know what Freemasonry is all about. And anyone who is in Freemasonry right now and wants out, I know that it's an uphill battle for you too, because the people who are surrounding you will do whatever they can to silence you from ratting them out. I'm going to keep doing videos and keep talking about this, because the more that I learn about what happened to me and more that I understand what's really going on, the more I want to talk about it with other people. And with all of the censorship going on, now's the time before they just decide to, turn off the internet or something crazy. Well, actually, we're already living in the the censorship dystopian age, so please share this. If you know somebody who's a survivor, share this with them. And I encourage you all to speak out. All right, take care of yourselves.